Are you ready to unlock your full potential? Motivational speaker, the comeback coach, and goal crusher Joe Rivera brings you inspiring leaders, incredible stories, and valuable lessons on how you can change, grow, and reforge your life. Now, here's your host, Joe Rivera.
What's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Reforge Your Life Show. I'm your host, Joe Rivera, and here at the Reforge Your Life Show, we love to show you that the comeback is more than possible. And today, I'm super excited about the person I'm bringing to the show, man. He's a mentor, a friend. He's the founder and owner of Selling Coaching Online, Jeff St. Lawrence. Welcome to the show, brother.
Joe, so good to be here, man. It's so good to share this with you.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for having me.
No doubt, bro. I appreciate being able to share this platform together, bro. So, man, I've heard your story. I love the energy when I heard the story. And there's something that just jumped out to me about you. And energy attracts like energy, man. But I love for you to share the story with the audience, let them know a little bit more about Jeff and, you know, your comeback, man.
Yeah. I mean, so I started off, and when I was younger, I was always, I was overweight, really had a poor self-esteem, and honestly didn't really know about my self-esteem. I just knew how I felt about myself, right? But I didn't know what it was called, anything like that. And so as I grew up, went into college, and of course now I'm in college, and there's girls, and there's peer pressure, and there's all this stuff around, you know what I mean? And so one day there was, I love this part, right? There's a couple of guys that I was hanging out with, and myself and two other guys, and there were three girls in the dorm room, and someone started a push-up challenge. And the guy I'm with, his name was Rick, and another guy, Greg, and they were like fit, and I was just me, you know? And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, push-up challenge, man, I can't do push-ups. And then it was not even a regular push-up challenge. It was a tricep push-up, like diamond, so nice and close, they're even more challenging. So my friend Rick went, he got like 43. It was stupid. And I'm like, when is he going to stop? And then my friend Greg went, he was like in the 30s somewhere. And I went, and I could barely get 3 of them. And after like the laughing subsided, you know, we were hanging out, whatever. And Rick kind of like put his arm around me, and he's like, dude, he's like, I'll go to the gym with you if you want, you know, and he was half joking, but I knew he was serious. And so like literally 2 weeks later, I went to the gym and I started working out, and I was amazed at how my body could transform. Right. I remember how like one time I was doing like a tricep push down on one of the machines, and I started off with like maybe 20 pounds, and like 3 or 4 weeks later, I was doing 40 pounds. I doubled my weight, you know, and whereas prior to that, keep going.
Hold on, Joe.
You're a lot more muffled.
You can't hear me?
Did we go off?
Can't hear him. I think, I don't know if it's Jeff. I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? You can't.
What was that, bro? What you were just on?
Test 1, 2, check.
Below that. Below it.
Hello.
Yeah, now we're good.
Test 1, 2.
Yeah, now I hear you. Okay.
Did you hear anything I was saying?
You know, I hear him.
Okay, so I just start right from the story.
That's what I'm saying. Start from the beginning. So I'll just start off. Okay. So Jeff, man, listen, I've heard your story, but there's no way that I'm qualified to tell it as good as you can. So I'd love for you to share with the audience your story, man.
Yeah, man. So I mean, this goes back to me coming into college. You know, growing up, I was overweight, poor self-esteem, but I didn't really know self-esteem, like what was that called? I just knew kind of how I thought. I had a really poor mindset. But, you know, as I went into college, you know, you go into college and all of a sudden, you know, there's girls, there's peer pressure. And there was one night in particular, very early on, where there's 3 guys of us hanging out. There's 3 girls, we're in the dorm, and there's a push-up challenge. Somehow someone said, hey, there's a push-up challenge. And the guys are like all excited. And I'm sitting there in my head, like all nervous, because I'm like, I can't do push-ups. And it wasn't like a regular push-up. It was a tricep push-up, like a diamond push-up. Those are even more challenging. So my friend Rick goes, he gets like 43, like some insane number. My friend Greg goes, he's in the 30s somewhere. And then it's my turn. And I managed to squeak out like 3 of them. And so after the laughing's done, my friend Rick comes over to me and he's like, dude, he's like, if you want to hit the gym with me, you're more than welcome. And I could tell like he was serious more than joking. And so a little bit later on, that week, I went to the gym with him and I was super intimidated, but like he invited me in there. And that's where I really started discovering the power of the human body, at least from a physical standpoint. Right. So I remember doing like an exercise, like a tricep push down with 20 pounds and struggling. And then, 2, 3, 4 weeks later, now I'm doing 40 pounds struggling. It's like, well, I just doubled my weight. And I really became excited and enamored with the human body and how it can grow and improve and get better. And that's where I actually, in college, I started with exercise science, exercise physiology, nutrition. That's how I ended up with that major, studying the human body because I was fascinated with it. It blew my mind even at that age, right? That like, wow, we can put a stimulus on our body and we can grow and we can improve. And as I changed physically, right? So now I dropped some weight, I got my 6-pack, and girls are noticing me. I have my friends, that was exciting. But as time went on a little bit through college, I realized it wasn't just my physical changes. My mindset was still poor, right? I still had a poor self-esteem. I had more confidence, but it was more external based. And that's where I discovered personal development, professional development. And that's where I started working hard on my mind, how I perceive things. That's how I went to a coaching school, went to the same coaching school, IPEC, back in 2003, 2004. And that's after having a long career in the fitness industry. And that's, as you can see from what happened with me, is I naturally wanted to go into that space to help others. So having been in the fitness industry and helping others, realizing that there's more than just the physical side, that's where I started getting into coaching. And that's really, Joe, I think where I worked harder. My comeback story is more from how I perceive myself and how I perceive the world, because I was just very negative and very down on myself. And I couldn't get out of my own way. And had I not really did the work on me, yes, physically, but I'd say even more importantly, mentally, with my behaviors, my habits, the way I view things, my perspective on things, how I can shift my energy, I don't know where I'd be today, because everything that I see now is from the perspective of what's good about it, what's the opportunity here. And it's a genuine, let's say, half glass full perspective. And I've brought that into everything that I do. And as for, a long time, over a decade plus being a fitness professional, and now 21 years as a life coach, mentor coach, business coach, if you will, that's a big reason why people have been attracted to me and what I do, is because I have that mindset and I bring that and I exude that.
Yeah, you sure do, man. I mean, your energy is definitely something that caught me when we first met, and I'm glad we did connect because, man, energy attracts like energy, right? And I felt that energy as soon as you walked in the room, man. So that's awesome. But I'm curious though, man. I can't picture you fat either, bro.
Well, how about this? I wasn't obese. I wasn't like 100 pounds overweight. But I think that's the thing. Like we watch home videos and everyone makes fun of me because I had little boobs, and like run around like I was chubby, right? I was chubby. But when you look at that, you're not like, well, you weren't obese. You say you were overweight, but that's just a thing. Right. It didn't matter if I was 5 pounds overweight, 50 pounds, or 500 pounds overweight. Like I just didn't feel good about myself. I wasn't confident with myself. I wasn't happy with myself.
No, of course. I mean, and when we're not happy with our appearance, it definitely affects the mindset. So I kind of want to go back to that because that's really important, and talk about what was that mindset like. What were the challenges you went through when you couldn't get out of your own way? Can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Yeah, like I just remember, like even in college, like some of the things I would tell myself, like just, and I think it mostly revolved around dating and girls, right? Like I just never felt like I was good enough, and I never felt like I wasn't likable, and yet I had plenty of friends. It's not like I didn't have friends. It's not like I didn't have fun. It's not like I couldn't present myself in the world and be social. It's just I would always see myself as less than and not likable. And what that did to me is it just made me really sad. It made me feel really lonely. So even to this day, like literally today, like I told you earlier, Joe, I got married this year. Um, at my wedding, like all my guy friends, like from college, like I have 5 strong friends that I made in college that to this day, I mean, how many years ago is that now? 20 plus years or whatever it is. We're still friends. So it's not like I didn't have strong friends. Some of those friends are from high school that I still like are really close with. So it's not like I didn't have that, but it impacted me from a enjoyment perspective, seeing myself around people and never feeling like I'd fit in, never feeling like I could have those strong relationships, especially with women, you know. And I think that's just where for myself, um, it was just hard. I just felt lonely sometimes. And when you don't feel like you fit in or you feel like you're not enough, which I think ultimately is everyone's everyone's base fear of being not enough something, good enough, strong enough, you know, healthy enough, anything. So I think that's really where it just held me back in pursuing things that I really wanted. I didn't go after things that I really wanted, right? Whether it was a girl, whether it was anything else, I never pursued those things because I just would make assumptions that I couldn't do it or I couldn't have it. I never dreamed, and this carried into even, I mean, even with all the work I've done with myself, even up till like maybe like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, um, I never dreamed. I always played it safe with things.
What did that, because that's really important right there. When you weren't dreaming and you had that low self-esteem, and the mindset where the story you were telling yourself was crippling you, because the story we tell ourselves really dictates the way our life looks and what our future is going to be. So what were you stopping yourself from in that moment? I mean, the girls and being able to date, but what else were you stopping yourself from when you weren't dreaming?
Well, as it progressed, and even this is with the work I've done with myself. Like I would avoid conflict. I would avoid like not to go too much details, but like even with my ex-wife, right? Not going after my son, and getting him more. Like I'd always back down. I would always rationalize things in my life. Oh, like I would want a new car, but everything is good enough. What I have is good enough, right? We want to live in a lake house someday, but like, you know what? Well, I can't do that right now because I would always hold myself back from certain things. Even doing simple things, and I'm just keeping this simple, right? Like doing, like you see this aquarium behind me, right? Like that, things like that. Like I wouldn't even do something that I liked, or even explore something that I liked, because I would just rationalize that what I have now is fine and I don't need something. Yeah. And it's not like I wasn't happy. It's not like I wasn't happy. That's the thing. I was happy. At least, I think I was happy, but I just wasn't magnifying what I was doing. I wasn't pushing myself. I wasn't achieving my own capabilities. I had always felt like I was capable of more. In some ways, I knew I was capable of more, yet I was never giving myself the platform and the opportunity to really stretch myself or push myself or see what it's like on the other side. Yeah. I'd say there's different turning points along the way. One turning point was the push-up challenge where I started us off. Like that was a turning point where I just realized like there was something in that moment where I felt embarrassed. And although that wasn't about me not being strong enough to do push-ups, that was about me being embarrassed in a situation because that proved to me that I wasn't good enough. At least that's what I told myself. Who cares that you can't do that? Like, oh, did anyone even really care? No, but that meant something more to me. And then that's when I started doing those physical changes, right? In terms of my health. There was a moment later on where I was out at Nike World headquarters working out there. And then my dad actually had some heart issues. So I wanted to move back home. I live in Massachusetts. So I came back home and I started that's where I had lived for so long. And I started re-immersing my life back to where I was. And that's where I realized I was doing the same things that I had once done that I once loved. And I didn't love them anymore. And that's when I was realizing, like, what am I doing? Am I just going to be a personal trainer in this gym for the rest of my life? Something that, 2-3 years prior, I'm like, oh my God, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Then I realized, geez, I have a shelf life. Then I realized it's like these people, if they're not working out with me, they're not eating well. They're all falling off the wagon. They're gaining weight. So where's my legacy? Where am I leading this to? That's where I discovered coaching, right? So that was a big transition for me, right? In terms of, geez, this is about like how we think, how we behave. It's the discipline of things, whole new world, right? The way things, and then it caused me to say, like, what am I doing? People say that, when they're 40, they're 50, they're 60 years old. Oh, geez, now what? Maybe they get laid off from a job. Maybe they're out of a relationship, right? And now they never thought they'd be at that spot in their life, so that was a spot for me. I was younger. I was like 27 or so, but that was a significant piece right there. Then there were turning points in my life where, like, I'd meet people like my wife now, like when I met her and she came into our world and there was a lot of dysfunction with my son, with my ex, and it was very uncomfortable. And I kept avoiding things. I just kept avoiding things, man. I didn't, I say I didn't have the balls to speak up. And when I'd speak up, I'd get angry, but I realized the anger didn't do anything. So then I didn't go anywhere from there because I didn't want to be angry, but then she encouraged me. It's just like, what do you want? And she's like, this is what I want. And if you want to be with me, these are the things that I want. And I said, I want, but I don't know how to do that. Right. And so that's where there's along the way, it's having people who push you, who inspire you, who mentor you, who work alongside of you. I wouldn't be here today without those people in my life. On the personal side, people like her, my wife, and my friends who encourage me and listen to me. And then there's on the business side as well. I wouldn't be here without the mentors and the people that I've learned from and worked closely with that challenge me, that say, like, wait a minute, and ask me the hard questions that bring up the things where it's just like, I'm settling. I'm not pushing myself.
So what I'm hearing you say, and is really important for the audience to pick up on, is that trying to do it on your own gave you these mediocre results. You couldn't bring out your fullest true self to be able to unlock that potential. And then once you started really honing in on your support, your network, because I believe that our network is our net worth, not just in dollars, but in direction, discipline, destiny. And when you started really leaning into that support group, is when you started to be able to remove the mask.
Yeah, absolutely. It can't, I will look you in the eye, and you know this, Joe, but for our viewers, like, you cannot do this without other people. And we've got to identify, there are some people, luckily in my life, there were people that supported me. There was only a few that didn't support that. Oftentimes the people around us aren't necessarily the right people to help elevate us to the next level. Yet that's the thing, is that like I said, I'll look you in the eye and say, you can't do this alone. You can't do whatever it is you're looking to do. You can't do it alone. And it's people in your life that you're working with that are just there because they're there. There's people that you're hiring. There's people, right, that you're learning about. It's the information.
Yeah. And you know what? You can do it alone, but you won't get the results that you're born to get. The results that you were created to get, you won't get on your own. You have to have a support group to carry you to that top of where you belong and wherever it is you're going. Your goal, you're going to get there a lot faster, a lot stronger, with better results if you're doing it with other people.
The other people are going to pull you out of your perspective. They're going to pull you out of your paradigm. They're going to pull you out of your mindset. The habits and the things that have brought you to where you're at now aren't going to be the habits and mindset that are going to get you to where you want to go. But that's all you know. So outside perspectives, the things that you hear that are going to be the hardest, that are going to challenge you, that you're going to hate, that you're going to resist, that you're going to push away, those are the things that are going to pull you out of where you're at now. And when you pull yourself out of that paradigm, you're going to like, oh, and you're going to look back at yourself and go, no wonder why I was X, Y, or Z. It's because you believed or saw something a certain way. And that was your barrier. Our barriers are up here. There's no external barriers. Time, money, energy, it's all perception. They're all resources we can get some from. We can earn more, we can create more, we can do more. So it's just our own barriers inside of our brain that keep us where we're at. Even if that's a great place, because when we get to a great place, sometimes there's a plateau.
Yeah, absolutely.
Enjoy it, savor it. Great. What's next? Because eventually that great place where you want it to be, whatever it is, physically, emotionally, it's going to be boring after a while, and it's going to be normal. And after a while, it's not going to do it for you anymore. Where are you going from there?
100%, man. And this is a perfect example, right, of how, what's up here in your mind really controls your destiny. Because look at what your life was when you were living with the poor mindset, when you were living where your paradigm was below where it is now, right? You didn't shift it yet, and you're in every domain of life, right? Your relationships, your health, finances, your business. I mean, it was all in different places until you elevated your peer group, number one, and you elevated your mindset to that next level because you surrounded yourself with people who were able to inspire you. Guess what? When you do that, you're inspired to do more with your life. It's a fact.
Yeah. Yeah. And well, with the people, right? They pull you out, but then they can also hold you accountable. When you tell someone you're going to do something, that means something. If your word means anything. And I've always aspired to be in my friend group. I want to be the brokest, the dumbest, the ugliest, the slowest. Like
100%.
Because that's going to elevate me. If I'm the smartest, the richest, the handsomest, you know what I mean? The best at something, like that's just going to slow me down.
I couldn't have said it better. That's so true, man, because we're talking about the people you surround yourself with, but you got to make sure the people you're surrounding yourself with are people who are going to elevate your game and take you to that next level rather than people who are going to bring that toxic energy in your life, because that toxic energy will just bring you down, drain you, and it'll take the life out of you if you allow it. That's really important. So I'm a big believer in that when we crack through a belief system, which is what you did, right? You cracked through a belief system and built a new belief system. And when we do that, there's some core values that are uncovered. We're able to kind of latch onto and lean into when times get tough, because that's life, right? Life's going to throw you curveballs. You're going to get knocked to your knees. It's not about how many times you get knocked down, about how many times you get up. So what are some of those core values that you lean into that were uncovered through your journey when times do get tough that you're able to lean into now?
Yeah, great one. Integrity for me, staying integrous to myself. Forget about other people. I'm not, yes, with other people, obviously, but integrous to myself, meaning that's in that inner alignment of who I am and what I want and what's important to me, who I want to be, how I want to act, who I want to be around with, what I want to do. That's that free flowing energy in and out with the people I'm with my everyday, being in situations that are not desirable or that are energy draining for you, or for me has been, it's every day. It's harder than it needs to be. I'm not saying everything's going to be perfect in your life, yet it's a matter of I had to look at and like, what do I want and how am I going to go after it? And what do I need to do? Leaving a marriage, that's not easy to do. You know what I'm saying? When at any point, right? So those things, as a quick example, but it's with friends you're around, it's with careers, it's where you live. It could be something very external. It could be a car you drive, right? It could be how you dress, how you feel about yourself, right? So I'm trying to address it on all different levels. So the integrity with yourself, because that's the thing that once I understood, and I understood what I wanted and what was important to me, and I was able to be able to go after that. Didn't mean it was easy to do, but when I had the right support systems, when I challenged myself, when I worked hard on myself, physically, emotionally, spiritually, etc., that's when I was able to align with my integrity. And that's where I created an ease about myself and about my life. And that's the ultimate freedom. To me, anyways, the ultimate freedom where it's just like I can just sit and there's nothing tugging on me. There'll be situations, right? That I'm not saying situations don't come up, but it's not a major situation like, oh, my career, my marriage, it'd be like something that just, the space that I'm in is killing me every day. And us humans, we tend to learn and rationalize, and it becomes the status quo. And we start to look at outside of that, and all of a sudden the changes we need to make look scary and overwhelming, so that when we look back at what we perceive as painful, it actually becomes comfortable and not so bad. And then we just settle back into that space. And next thing you know, a decade goes by. A decade? Dude, I'm 49 now. It's not old, but it's also older, right? It's like,
we're not 21 anymore. You feel like
no.
you bounce back the way you used to anymore, right?
Yeah. I mean, 20 years, I'm almost 70. Well, that's how much I got left at that point. Yeah. Hopefully, right? But healthy years. No, so it's like, what are we messing around with?
Yeah. And man, I love the fact that you brought up the integrity piece, because I'm a big believer in, if you can't be a person of integrity with yourself, then you won't be able to be a person of integrity to the outside world. And every time you don't keep your word to yourself, you're putting a hole in your integrity.
Yeah. And no one can do the work but you. Like we talked about all the people, all the, great. You can have all the people, but that's the stimulus. That's it's a spark. That's maybe that turning point that you referred to earlier. Yet once that's there, then it's just like, all right, what's the work? And it's years. It's not like it's just happening overnight. A conversation. It's hundreds of conversations. It's hundreds of actions.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, man. Because I remember getting sober, man. I mean, putting the drugs and alcohol down was the easy part. The work was me doing the work, peeling the onion back, taking stock of who I was. And that goes with any comeback you're going to make. The comeback isn't, you're not a victim of your circumstances and conditions. They don't control your destiny. You do. And once you start realizing that, you know what? I got to make a change from within me in order to come back and bounce back from whatever it is you're going through in life. That's a huge step that has to get done.
Yeah. Can I say this, Joe, real quick?
Yeah, of course.
Also, some people don't give themselves enough validity in what they go through. Like, you got a story like yours. Like, I've heard your story several times. Like, holy crap, man, right? And there's other stories that are just, sometimes we hear other people's stories and we judge ours as what we're going through as differently, or not enough, right? Like, you can listen to my story and go like, dude, you were chubby. So what? So you didn't get a girl. So did any of us. Like, like stupid things like, what'd you have to overcome? Oh, you had a bad mindset, right? Like, it's all these little things, but it's like, for each of us, we each have a cross to bear, and it doesn't have to be this traumatic, oh, I lost all my limbs and like, sometimes it's just a little bit of things that go on, but for you, it's everything, and it feels suffocating and overwhelming. And so I just, whatever anyone's going through, it's important for you, and it's big for you. And so give it the importance as if you were on your deathbed. I haven't been on my deathbed. You know what I mean? I haven't been, on a scale of things, but for your own scale, those things matter.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man. They definitely matter, especially for your own scale. And your scale is the most important one, without a doubt. Jeff, I'd love for you to tell the audience, where that chubby kid who got brolic turned into now, and what you're doing and what you're doing out there in the world.
Yeah, man. So from that fitness industry to life coaching for 11 years, and then I got into the space of helping coaches transition to a full-time business. So there, it's I'm sellingcoaching.com. I help coaches transition to a full-time business. Love it, passionate about it. Focus on selling. I focus on marketing. Right, that's the professional side of me that does that. I do real estate. I have rental properties. That was something that I was passionate about as well. Like from I can even remember, I held myself back from for so long, and now I do that. I love it. Got remarried this year. Got my dream lake house. We got our boat this year. Like this year, held myself back. I got my dream car. Like for now, isn't it sad, Joe, that like when he's 19 now, my son, we started getting into cars, a couple years ago, 3 years ago, probably. He's like, Dad, what's your dream car? I couldn't even answer the kid. Right. So now it's just like, and these aren't just material things, right? When doing these things, right? For us, it's fulfilling a dream. It's being in integrity with what you want. It's going after what you want and finding a way to bring it to your reality, to live it out.
Right, man. And I love that it turned around like that for you. And that's a perfect example of what happens when you shift your paradigm and do the work on yourself and realize that you could do anything you put your mind to. I love what you're doing out there, Jeff. All that's going to be in the show notes. You said Jeff at what's the website again?
Sellingcoaching.com.
Sellingcoaching.com.
Yep.
So Jeff, a couple of questions that I ask all my guests. Number one is, what does the word purpose mean to you?
Intentional. It means it's intentional for you. Purpose it fills you up inside. And it's something that gets you up every day.
Yes.
And allows you to sleep hard at night.
Yes. Love that. Gets you up every day without the alarm clock too sometimes.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah. And when you hear the word reforge, what comes to mind?
Just rebuilding. It's taking everything that is, and I picture this like hot melting pot. It's taking everything and recycling it and coming up with something brand new and exciting. But the thing about that is reforged to me is it's taking everything that's there already. All the ingredients are already there. It's just repurposing them and shifting them. You're already whole. We're already whole as we are right now. There's nothing wrong with us. It's just we might be forged a certain way that's not serving us. Like our mindset is forged a certain way. The neurons, based on what we've heard from the 10,000 dinners we had with our family, hearing the certain things that now we carry on, and we don't even question as to whether they work for us or not. And it's just taking already what we have and just melting it all down and coming up with on the other side with a brand new fresh mold. Still us.
Love that, man. That's a really good reminder too for the audience to pick up on, that you have everything within you. It's just a matter of digging in deep and finding it, and living it. So yeah, you have the opportunity to go out there and remold any part of you that you want, as long as you're willing to do the work. So Jeff, what's one thing that the audience doesn't know about you that you enjoy doing for fun?
Geez, I do so many things for fun, man. like I golf, I fly drones. Now I'm boating. How about this? I detail my car. Like I am like a detail car guy. And that was another thing I dreamed. I used to detail cars when I was younger. And when I got my new car, I was like, oh, and I got into it again. YouTube, aquariums. I love fish, man. I spent 3 hours yesterday in my another tank downstairs cleaning it, just all things. And this thing is, I have so many different things that I enjoy doing, like hobbies that are fun, that light me up, that.
Love it, man. Love it. Having fun is so important, man. Everybody needs to realize you got to find the time to have fun. You could run your business, you could run your family, but you got to make sure you're having fun out. Got to make sure you're doing something that lights you up inside, other than your work, other than your relationship, something that's good for you on the inside. What brings you to life? What brings you joy? Because, man, without that joy, life's going to be pretty miserable.
Yeah. People don't do things. Like I used to not do anything. And it's just like, now I do things and I have things. And it's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jeff, man, I really appreciate you coming through. I knew you were going to bring the energy. I knew that you were going to take the roof off, man. And you did that and more, brother. I really, really appreciate you coming through, man.
Dude, I just give respect to you because, you know, what you're doing for people, what you've gone through and the platform that you've created is awesome. It's incredible. And I really appreciate the fact that you take your time and your energy and you bring this to people and gather people like us and the other people that you do on this show, because it's so important. It's so important.
I appreciate that, man. That means a lot, bro. And for the audience out there, thank y'all for checking it out, viewing it, listening to it. And please don't forget, man, I'm going to ask y'all what I always do, LFSS, like, follow, subscribe, and most importantly, share the episode. Because there's somebody out there right now who's looking to reforge their life in whatever domain of life it's in, their health, their finances, their business, their relationships, and they don't have the know-hows. They don't have the tools. And you sharing this episode or past episodes could help them reforge their life. So stay productive, stay purposeful, and stay blessed, yeah.
You've been listening to Reforge Your Life with your host, Joe Rivera. Make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. To learn more about Joe Rivera and how he can help you or your organization reforge your life and regain your place at the top, head on over to withjoerivera.com and follow Joe on all social platforms. The Reforge Your Life podcast was produced by Thrive Loud Productions. Thanks for listening.